I am sitting here before you today, apparently the face of white supremacy.
Hi, everybody. Auntie speaks. Woo! We're going to look at a mama bear, everybody. We're going to look at a mama bear, and she is defending white people. She's not white, I guess. She's Indian. But she's defending white people. And I love it. We have come to this place in our country where an Indian has to stand up and say, hello. Racism against white people is just as bad as racism against other races. Hi, let's listen to this awesome, awesome lady. Her name is Asra Nomani. I really hope I pronounced that right. Let's give her a look.
I came to the United States at the age of 4. I was an immigrant to the great state of New Jersey, and I grew up in Morgantown, West Virginia, a mostly white state. I was affirmed, I was supported, and I was able to grow up a girl who knew not a word of English when I arrived to become a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. I am sitting here before you today, apparently the face of white supremacy. I am wearing a shirt that my father made. My father survived, literally, white supremacy in India. My father is 5'3", because when he was a boy, the white supremacists that were the British rule in India literally funneled food away from the people of India, and my father starved. And so he grew up to be a young man who came to the United States of America because he believed in the values and principles of this great nation.
I love that. Isn't that a wonderful story? It's a reminder that there are some really bad things around the world. And most places other than the United States are quite tribal, like very, very tribal. To the point where, let me give you a good example. I lived in Germany for a long time. And Germans, I really believe they tried to take over the world over and over again because they just loved everybody else's culture but theirs. But I met a bunch of people there who were immigrants, and I met this one guy, and he says, yeah, I'm Turkish. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. When did you come over? He goes, oh, no, I'm third generation. And I looked at him, I'm like, what do you mean you're third generation? I'm like, aren't you German? He's like, no, I'm Turkish. Yeah, that's the way it is in most of the world. But this lady came over from India at 4, and she was welcomed. Didn't know a word of English, and she didn't feel any white supremacy. But her father did, in a very real way. And he came to this country because we are an idea. America is an idea. We are a shining city on a hill.
My father made this shirt for me, inspired by the gown that Representative Ocasio-Cortez wore to the Met Gala. And it says on here the names that we, the parents in the United States of America, have been called, including in the video that you featured, Chairman Raskin. Things like domestic terrorist, white supremacist, QAnon moms. What is it that we, the parents, have dared to stand up against in the United States of America over the last couple years? It is a divisive ideology expressed through this book called Critical Race Theory.
That's a good question. Did they deserve this? This is America, where freedom of speech is enshrined in our Constitution. We are the only country on the face of the planet where our right to free speech is guaranteed. And you have a bunch of parents who use that free speech right to disagree with what is being taught to their children. And they are termed domestic terrorists and white supremacists and QAnon supporters, whatever the hell QAnon is. It's rather disgusting. It's called a heckler's veto. You shame your opponent into silence. If you call them enough names, then they'll be too scared to speak out. It's lots of places in the world that do this to their public. Lots of places in the world. America is not one of them, or it shouldn't be.
It is a book that is taught in law schools, but it is translated into our school systems with books like this, Not My Idea, a book about whiteness. The trickle-down effect of the demonization of any human being because of their race is books like this. Where does this book take us as an idea? It takes us to this very simple idea, an idea that is a new hierarchy of human value. There is no doubt that the hierarchy of human value that was about white supremacy is illegitimate. Every single person is opposed to the idea of white supremacy. But we cannot replace an old hierarchy of human value with a new hierarchy of human value.
Wow. There is so much good stuff in there. I'm not quite sure what to start. She says here the trickle-down effect by the demonization of any human being because of their race, and a new hierarchy of human value. Any hierarchy of human value that is determined by race is wrong. Whether you are saying your race is superior, which is what was done in the past, which was disgusting, or what they're doing now, which is white people bad. And to put it in a children's book, wait till you see what is in this children's book.
That demonizes children with this book, Whiteness is a Bad Deal, signing a contract with the devil. What is the message in this? The message is the shaming of human beings. No child should be shamed. And why is this a threat to our democracy? Because we then have posters like this one in the Los Angeles School District. What does it say? F America, with KKK replacing the C. Because the idea is that our nation has become a white supremacist nation, and that is not true. That is not the reality, and we can see exhibited here today this poster also, F the police. This is an ideology that I call the woke army. It is an ideology of activists who are going through America's school districts and our communities, and what they are doing is a threat to democracy.
I want you to imagine little Timmy, little Jenny, sitting in a classroom. They're 5 years old, they're 6 years old, and the teacher is reading to them a book that says whiteness is a bad deal, with the iconic imagery of signing a deal with the devil. This is child abuse. You know, when I was younger and we watched those old films of the 50s and the 60s and those people going after Black folks down in the South, and I just never could understand where those people were coming from. I just thought, why? I don't understand how you can be like this, how you can look at someone and look down on them because of the color of their skin. I never understood it. I do now. Those kids in the 50s and the 60s were taught to hate. They were taught to be racist. We are now doing the exact same thing, but we're doing it against white people instead of Black people. It is the same thing. And I love this, a woke army. It is. Have you ever been on TikTok and seen these teachers? They feel it's their mission in life to educate these children on how to be an anti-racist and how to hate white people and how to take down the oppressors. If that isn't a woke army, I don't know what is.
What is the greatest threat that our children face today? It is the learning loss. that has happened in our school districts. The Department of Justice declares clearly the characteristics that lead any human being to extremism include having less education. Chairman Raskin, I don't know if you know it, but the reading level in your school district, in Montgomery County Schools, is at 32% of kids that are reading at grade level. Math is at 30%. Congresswoman Tlaib is here. In Detroit, it's 18% and then 12% for math. It is a failure. This is a system failure. White supremacy must be defeated, as must all extremism. This is our mandate as adults for our children. Our children are in a crisis today, and the idea that we, the parents, are now the agents of white supremacy is unacceptable.
I love it. I love it. She goes right at the race mongers themselves, especially Tlaib, excuse me. She is a race hustler of a race hustler of a race hustler, and she goes right after them. You want extremists? Make these kids ignorant. Don't teach them classics. Don't expect anything out of them. Tell them they're victims. Tell them that they can't succeed because of the white man, scary white man in the corner. You want these kids to be angry. You want them to be voters. You want them to be anti-racist. You don't want them educated. You don't want them intelligent. You don't want them succeeding. Why? Well, because if they succeed, they become Republicans. There's a great phrase that everybody always thinks Republicans are rich, right? The Republican Party is rich. Sorry. All the really, really rich people, like the really, really rich people, look at the Housewives of New York, the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Go back to the seasons when Trump won. See them lose their mind. No. All the real, real rich people, they all feel guilty because they're rich. A lot of them because, it was handed to them, or they got it because they were an actress and they don't feel like they deserve it. Those people are the guilty people. No, the Republicans are Republicans because they want to be rich. They want to work their way up to become rich. I love it. She goes right after these guys and attacks them where they live in education. You want to make these kids stupid? You want to make them dumb? They will never succeed in life, so they'll become Democratic voters. Not that I believe that all Democratic voters are ignorant. I don't. I think most Democratic voters just don't pay attention. Because who wants to pay attention to all this stuff? It's terrible. All of it's bad news. Sometimes I wish I could go back before 9/11 where I didn't pay attention at all. My life was a lot easier. Okay, guys, this woman is awesome. She is awesome. We need more of this out there in the world. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you on the next one.